My name is Timothy Bloom. I interned at Management 360 in Los Angeles. So I've moved around a lot. Some days I was a development intern reading scripts for consideration by the production department at Management 360, or in Film 360 and Television 360, which are their production arms. And then other days I was on the talent floor working for talent managers as a talent management intern, pretty much taking care of whatever they needed me to do on a daily basis. Sometimes it was reading scripts that were already picked up for production for specific cast members who our managers represented. And sometimes it was just, day-to-day cleaning out closets and organizational stuff and mailroom stuff, sometimes printing and binding scripts and delivering stuff. So I've actually never had another internship, none in the entertainment industry. I briefly interned for some politicians, but it was very different because it was very much a learning experience. And they made an effort to put me where I wanted to be. So after I had done some development stuff, I asked if I could be on a talent desk, and then I sat on a talent desk of a pretty influential manager who was very helpful and kind of pointing me in the right direction and giving me a lot of advice. And I'm really grateful for that. It was a great experience. My favorite story to tell from the summer is that Matthew Broderick's manager was one of the managers I worked for, and he was opening a show on off-Broadway at the Irish Repertory Theater in New York City. And the manager I was working for, who was his manager, couldn't make it out to the opening night, so I was tasked with finding a liquor store nearby that could deliver a bottle of bourbon to him as a congratulations. So I called a bunch of liquor stores in New York, found one that would run it over. It was right around the corner. Had to get some prices on good bottles of bourbon. My original instruction was get the best bottle of bourbon you can, and when that ended up being like $800, he was like, all right, I'll give you a budget. And then I had a budget. But that's a fun story because when I told the guy, yeah, so you're gonna give it to attention of Matthew Broderick at the Irish Repertory Theater. He's like, the guy at the liquor store was this French guy. He was like, Matthew Broderick, I've heard that name before. I don't know where, but I've heard that name before. It was in Los Angeles. The office was right off Wilshire in Beverly Hills, which was cool. Not a whole lot around there for lunch options, so I did end up bringing my lunch. But I lived at UCLA, which was just what I needed. I would highly recommend for any people who go to LA going forward, room with and live with somebody because everything is so spread out and it can get a little bit lonely. But it was an easy commute. I had a car out there because I drove across the country, which was also super fun. But it was, a 15-minute drive to work and then usually a half hour to 45 minutes back because of rush hour. But it was definitely not too hard to get there and back. I learned that the entertainment business from the business end is a lot of reading, period. You just need to know what's going to be good. You have to have an eye for what's going to be good and what's not going to get made. I read a ton of scripts. I read some good scripts. I read a lot of bad scripts. And I think that was probably the best thing I did all summer, as I kept track of all the ones I read and which ones I liked and which ones I didn't, who the writers were. And I met a lot of people and got a lot of good advice about how to proceed. Going into the summer, I still was telling people I don't think I know what I want to do with my life. And then now after the summer, I think talent representation is something I can get into, or production. And that's kind of what's cool about management, is that unlike being an agent, you can produce things with your clients. Agents aren't allowed to do that. So it was cool to be in a place that did so many different things with representation and production. So I got both ends of, actually making content and then setting up content so it could be made. It was a good kind of holistic view of everything. Management 360, you've probably never heard of it, but they've done a lot of things that you have heard of. The president of the company, Guyman Cassidy, who's a very nice person, he sat down and met with me, and we chatted for a couple times, and it was great. He's one of the executive producers of Game of Thrones, and he sourced the books which became the TV show. So again, you might not have heard of Management 360, but they've done a lot of stuff, and they've been involved with a lot of stuff that you've probably seen. So it's definitely something worth applying to. If you've gotten the internship, congratulations. It's going to be awesome. Don't try to prepare at all, because you're not going to be doing the same thing any 2 days in a row. And just be friendly and be outgoing and be willing to do things that you don't necessarily want to do, like cleaning out closets, because the day after you clean out closets, you might get to, listen on a phone conversation with Tobey Maguire. it was a great learning experience, and definitely, you know, don't go in there with a closed mind, because you just have to be ready to learn a lot, and don't assume that you know exactly what people want, because they're going to tell you something completely different.